Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the season finale of Lucifer. Episode picked up pretty much where last week's episode left off with Chloe, and as well as those other officers pointing their guns at Lucifer. And Lucifer's kind of trying to explain to Chloe, but, it kind of seems like Chloe doesn't believe him. And it's kind of sad because you can just see, you can see it in Lucifer's eyes. He's just like, I give up. You don't believe me. And he's just like, without you believing me, then it's just like, what's the point? And he's even egging the cops on to, shoot him because it's like, oh, I'm the great evil, so go ahead and shoot me. And when the cops is about to shoot him, he actually fired. I was like, wow. But, surprise, surprise, someone saves him, and it's a Minodol. And then Lucifer's just like, okay, you know what? Fine, you can send me back to hell. I'm ready to go. He's like, with that, because honestly, the only thing really keeping him there was Chloe, because just that partnership it was so important to him that he was just like, that's just the only thing that kept him wanting to stay there. But now that she didn't believe him about this and stuff, he's just like, there was no point. But Aminadab doesn't want to send him back to hell, and Lucifer's like, what? What do you mean? I'm literally telling you I'm ready to go back to hell. The thing you wanted to do this entire time is send me back, and now you're telling me, nope, we need to stay. Essentially, Aminadab wants to kind of make up for what he's done, trying to kill Lucifer, using Mazakin. He's just like, basically we have to make up for this by hunting down Malcolm. And just like, all right, let this be like the one last thing we do before I go or something, is basically kind of the mentality Lucifer had. And I kind of liked it. It's kind of weird because it's funny. It's one of those episodes you get that another moment of those two just actually working together, and it's weird. I really liked when they went to Dr. Martin's office. At the beginning, Dr. Martin's thinking Aminadab had stolen Lucifer as like a patient. She's like, oh, you're trying to get close to me so you can take my clients or whatever. But ends up explaining that they're brothers, and she's just like, okay, whatever the case is, okay, apparently you're brothers. She's like, okay, for one, Aminadab basically BS'd her, done all this stuff to all the stuff he's done is unethical, just to be able to manipulate her brother. And Lucifer's just she's like, put me in a very compromised position. And Lucifer's about to say something, and she's like, just stop right there. You're about to make some sexual joke about putting me in a position. He's like, yes, actually I was. And then she's like, basically, she's kind of like, we sit here, we try to make progress, but you're so keen on believing this whole oh, you make all these metaphors about heaven, hell, devil, angel, and then Minodol's about to say no, actually and then Lucifer's like, that's just going to start something you don't want to kind of get mixed up in. Essentially, he's basically saying don't even bother. She's not going to believe you, and just like, oh, okay. And then basically they get the idea from her. It's just she's just like, basically, I'm kind of failing at my job, and then Lucifer and them are just kind of like, yeah, because Lucifer's like, oh yeah, I did come here to change, meaning Martin's going to want to change too. I mean, he's just going to get new identities and stuff like that, so they know how to track him down. They're like, good job, you always know what to say, doctor. And end up leaving. She's like, yeah, and she just looks so defeated. I was halfway expecting them to kind of end up showing her the truth. That's something I was actually expecting in the episode. It's for everyone to kind of find out the truth about Lucifer and Aminadab, not being human. I was so sure, especially Chloe. I thought she was going to finally find out about Lucifer, but maybe with what happened, him getting shot. I thought, okay, you seeing him coming back like that, it was no you're going to be like, okay, definitely something weird about him. But I did like them teaming up, and especially when they fight all those guys, when they were finally tracked Martin down, and then Aminadab's about to freeze him. Lucifer's like, no. How about we don't do the freezing thing? How about we just take care of them? And he's like, but what about your whole mortality thing? He's like, well, as long as I'm not around Chloe, he's like, I'll explain it later. and they actually were having fun. I thought that was kind of interesting. Just like they kicked some serious ass, and then just afterwards, Lucifer's they're both laughing like that last time they were teamed up, looking for Lucifer's wings to eat. They were just laughing it up, haha, having fun. And then Lucifer touched Amenadal's shoulder, and then Amenadal looked at him like, "Wait, what?" And Lucifer just, "Yeah, okay, let's go find Martin." He's like, "Yeah, let's just do that." It's like the moment they kind of bonded for a moment, it's so weird for them. They're kind of disgusted. But we had Amenadal getting stabbed, and then for a moment, Lucifer was actually scared. He was like, come on, it's not that bad. It's just a scratch. It's like, you're not going to die. It's just like, it's so interesting because you've seen so much of a hate relationship between them to see him actually care for Amenadal. I don't know. It's kind of in a way sweet. And I also love how, Mazakin's the one that ended up helping him and saving him. She actually used the feather that Lucifer had. I was wondering, well, I figured as much, because she actually said it herself, like, she was going to use it to get back home. I knew it had something to do with that. It was just, but she used the feather because it has divinity, so she was able to heal his wound. But I was wondering what she was going to do. I'm surprised that she was just like, you're not going to die, and I don't know, that's another relationship I'm just surprised about. It's just because it just seemed like she had no, that seemed like sort of it's interesting that how that relationship developed. A bit in the beginning she was just using him, but then she actually legitimately fell for him, and that was quite the surprise, and she actually cares about him. And so the light exploded, and the feather healed his Amenadal's wound, which that's the last time we see Mazakin. It kind of gets brought up later on, like at the end of the episode. It's like, oh, where's Maze? She probably left to get away from you. I'm thinking like it was just something that was kind of in the back of my mind. I was like, what if when that feather activated, it did something to Maze, but they just don't know it? Maybe that's not the case. Maybe she really did just go off, but I was thinking like, oh, maybe something actually happened in Mazakin because of that feather. I don't know. We also had another interesting team up in this episode, Mazakin and Chloe. I did love the line like, and to think I almost killed you in your sleep. She's like, wait, what? Because she actually kind of bluntly told Chloe's like, you've never liked me, have you? She's like, no. Lucifer and I were having fun. It was party all the time until you came around. You essentially saying like you changed Lucifer and you kind of ruined everything. She was like, you like being a cop because you like to shoot people, don't you? She's like, no, I enjoy being a cop. I became a cop because I wanted to stop people from getting away from doing bad things. Plus, I enjoy shooting people, and just Mazakin kind of liked that. And I like when Chloe ended up falling on top of her, and she was just kind of like, now I see why he kind of likes you. Something that did come up was the fact is that Malcolm had changed. Essentially, he wasn't kind of the same man he was when. It's kind of sad because, like, his wife was so like adamant. She was so pissed about Chloe. It's kind of interesting. We don't really actually get to know Malcolm before before the Malcolm we know now. I'm assuming, like, I guess he, was a decent person, but then, as we see before, he was kind of a shitty dude because he was a dirty cop, but. And I did like that eventually Chloe and Lucifer did make up. It's like, reunited, and it feels so good. It's just like, it's just like, it's so satisfying to see them actually, because that relationship isn't just important to Lucifer. It's actually very important to Chloe too, because that, he can be annoying and, very weird at times, but he's very important to her. He's become a very important part of her life. I mean, I don't think she'd ever put it in those words again, especially because, when she, the way he kind of, in her mind, she's thinking, he acted weird the last time I told him about being vulnerable around him, even though, she doesn't know about the whole, like, actually physically making him vulnerable around her. we had Dan telling Chloe everything, which to me, I never realized on how much that affected her. I knew, granted, like he lied about what happened to Malcolm, but I was stupid. It never crossed my mind. She legitimately got crapped on from tons of cops. She even, like, people thought she was crazy. She even started thinking she was crazy. I was like, totally didn't even think about that. Like, the effect it had on her. Like, literally every cop didn't want to work with her because they thought she was, just a lunatic, because of the whole Malcolm situation, because she was so adamant about Malcolm being dirty, but he's sitting up there in a hospital bed. His his biggest advocate was his partner, who I'm pretty sure, well, definitely killed him. Which is kind of sad. I mean, I know that was kind of get them off his tail by making his partner commit suicide, but it's like, why did you do that though? Like, I don't think he ever really explained why he did that. Maybe his partner was, closing in on him. Maybe that's why he did it. But then you have the bastard Malcolm doing the crappy thing, and he kidnaps Chloe. I mean, kidnap Trixie, which is like, how dare you use a kid, to try and get what you want? Because, Chloe had his money, the money he was going to use to kind of disappear. But basically, Chloe went to the meeting, and, essentially Malcolm was going to kill them both. But, Chloe told Lucifer she didn't have any choice. She had to do it because, that's her little girl, and she's got to do everything she can to protect her. And essentially, Malcolm has said, like, Lucifer he better not see Lucifer either, or it's going to be trouble. So Chloe shows up, and he's about to, he's going to kill Chloe. But then Lucifer, as expected, shows up. And then Lucifer kind of uses his powers to ask Malcolm what it is that he wants more than anything. He's just like, to live. And Lucifer said, yeah. But he's like, but there's one more thing. And then he ends up shooting Lucifer. Essentially, what he wants more so than anything is to make Lucifer feel the pain that he felt, dying. And he's like, yeah, we all know where you're going. And, Lucifer was lying on the floor bleeding, and he actually died. And then, we actually kind of get our first look at hell, which it looks like a gigantic maze. I do like the fact is that it rains ash, and he's just like, oh this damn ash. It's just, that's kind of interesting. Like, we kind of got that look at it. Not as fiery red as I was expecting it. It was actually kind of like a dark, somber scene to it. I mean, granted, we didn't even get to see all of it. We only saw part of it, but still, honestly, not what I was expecting. Not really sure what I was expecting. You know what? No, that's wrong. Like I said, red and fiery, not as like kind of darkish blue, somber, as it is. I mean, it still looks like a depressing place. I mean, but And then it was very interesting because he had called out to God as something like, he's like, I'll do anything you want. Just like, don't promise me that, you can send me back. Just promise me you'll protect Chloe. And then, God ended up bringing him back after he saw that, there was chains and someone wasn't there. It's like essentially someone had escaped from hell. And then he dealt with Malcolm, and Malcolm was thinking he thought he got the last laugh because he had the coin, but Lucifer made the coin disappear. So I don't know whether that was him destroying it, meaning that was, obviously that's what it symbolized, I guess, was him destroying it, because he was going to use the coin as a way of getting back home. So the fact is that it's gone. Either he, teleported it anyway, teleported it away because he tossed it up and Malcolm was trying to grab it. So either that was just to kind of mess with him, or he simply did destroy it so that, he can't go back home. I kind of skipped over it, didn't I? The fact is that Dan actually, after he told Chloe everything, to clear Lucifer's name, he admitted what he did with Malcolm. The fact is he stole evidence and gave the gun to Malcolm. And that was kind of surprising because even Chloe was like, wait, what are you doing? And then Lucifer's actually calls him by his name. He's like, Detective Esposito. And even Dan's kind of like, no, Detective Douche. He's like, well, at least not for today. It's like, oh, that was very sweet of you. For a moment, it's just like, I don't know, because it's always like, you always kind of hope for that Lucifer and Chloe relationship, but at the same time, you see, he is trying, Dan is trying to redeem himself, so that is kind of awesome in its way. So it's kind of like, I don't know which way that's going to go. Will it be Chloe and Lucifer, or will, Chloe and Dan kind of become a thing? I don't know. But Lucifer ends up telling Amenadal the demon that got away, because Amenadal's looking at him, like, why are you so scared? You've never been scared before. He's like, what demon got away? And he's like, who escaped from hell? He's like, Mom did. And in the beginning, I was thinking, like, what does that mean? Does that mean like your collective mom, or does that mean like Lucifer's mom specifically? Like, I don't know. I feel like because he just said the term, just because he said mom, not just my mom, he meant their collective mother. So it's like, which is very interesting. Like, I'm not a very religious person, so I don't know. Has it ever come? It's so interesting to know that they have a mother. You know, it's not just like God created them. Like, they actually have a mother. Like I said, it could specifically be Lucifer's. Maybe like all the angels had different mothers. You know, maybe him and Amenadal have a different mother, or maybe they actually share the same mother. But it's like, why was she like sealed away in hell? And does that mean Lucifer saw her on a regular basis? And why is he so scared of her then? I mean, how much of a problem is she really if God put her in, you know, had her sealed away in hell? And, you know, how scary is she if someone like Lucifer is scared of her? But Lucifer's not scared of anything, really. So I thought that was because I was constantly, I was like, who is it who escaped? I thought he's thinking, because even I was thinking kind of like Amenadal, oh, it's just some random demon. And then like the way Lucifer said, I was like, oh, maybe it's not just one, you know, maybe it symbolized the fact that multiple people had escaped from hell. It's like, though, just one particular person and their mom. So like, I'm so curious to find out, you know, maybe we'll get to see, like, I'm so curious to find out what it is, you know, like, find out specifically, is it that Lucifer's mom, or is it just the collective angels' mom, or is it just what the situation is? Maybe we'll find out more about why they were sealed in hell. It's kind of sad if it is, because because Lucifer is, you know, kind of essentially the king of hell. Having to keep watch over multiple souls is one thing, but having to keep watch over your own mother, it makes you wonder, like, did he ever, you know, actually visit her, or was it just because he knew she was there, he never went to that section? It's like, yeah, she's locked up. I'm not going. Because she basically got out when Amenadal was dying. It's like in the moment he kind of passed out and was dying, it was in that moment she found a way to escape. Because Amenadal being he was always able to keep a watchful eye out, but he was kind of passed out. And Lucifer's indisposed at the moment, so she just slipped out. So it's like, how did she escape? Maybe she actually got help, and there's someone that helped. Maybe we'll find that out too. Because truth be told, I was thinking something like Malcolm was going to be possessed by a demon. That's why he kind of changed the way he did. That a demon kind of rode on his coattails when Amenadal dragged him back from hell. But that turned out not to be the case. Just Malcolm just turned out to be a shitty person. He just came back a shitty person. I mean, it seems like he was a little bit of a shitty person before. It just seems like he came back an even shittier person. But I was super excited to find out, because usually, like I said, you know how I always feel about renewals. You never know. You never really find out when a show ends. Unlike the TV never really announces it to you. You usually have to go find out for yourself. But I was super excited to find out Lucifer has been renewed for a second season. So I was like, yes! So I can't wait to see what hijinks and cases we deal with next season, as well as finding out, like I said, more about Lucifer's mom. Be really interesting. I really love this show, and I just can't wait. But that's really all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.